Caely Holdings says the authorities have issued a freeze order on its bank accounts, which will impact its finances and operations. The lingerie maker did not specify which authorities issued the order. In a burst filing, it said it is not aware of any wrongdoing that led to the move and will seek further clarification from the said authorities. The company said its board of directors is unable to determine the full financial and operational impact of the freeze order at this juncture. It will make the necessary announcements to Bursa as and when there are further developments on the matter. Its shares traded at 47 cents before trade of its securities were halted for an hour this afternoon in conjunction with the announcement. This follows Bursa's filings earlier this month on the appointment of forensic auditor Verdos Lima Consultancy Malaysia to carry out an independent forensic audit on allegations of suspicious and irregular transactions at its subsidiary Caely Malaysia. It said the investigation is targeted for completion on May 31st, 2022. At 5 p.m, its shares settled 6.5% lower at 43 cents apiece, giving it a market capitalization of 111.04 million ringgit. Transport Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wee Ka Siong says his ministry, the Malaysian Aviation Commission MAVCOM, the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia CAAM, and 3 airlines, Malaysia Airlines, AirAsia and Malindo, have reached a decision regarding the price of air tickets during festive seasons. According to Bernama, he said the decision came about during a 72-hour-long meeting that began last Thursday, the outcome of which will be announced soon. He said he felt relieved as a solution had been found. The issue of airfares, particularly for flights to East Malaysia, has become a hot topic recently, with prices reaching almost 2,000 ringgit for a return flight to Sabah or Sarawak, a 566% jump compared to the usual 300 ringgit price for the same trip. A screenshot that went viral showed that the price for a flight to Tawau Sabah from KLIA on May 2nd was 3,208 ringgit and 96 cents for economy class and 3,617 ringgit and 9 cents for business class. Separately, the Transport Ministry's Secretary General Dato' Isham Ishak reportedly said ticket prices have been reduced by over 30% after MAVCOM agreed to compromise on the fares during the festive season. According to Bernama, he said the Commission would issue a detailed statement on its efforts to look into the reduced fares. FERRERO and CARGILL Inc.'s decisions to stop buying palm oil from Sime Dabi Plantation or SDP is expected to have minimal financial impact on the company. Hong Leong Investment Bank or HLIB research analyst Chai Wen-Fei said that while the developments had reignited investors' environmental, social and governance ESG concerns over SDP, the impact on its share price is likely a knee-jerk reaction. She said this is because the financial impact on the company should be minimal, since it should be able to divert its products elsewhere given the tight supply of vegetable oils. Additionally, SDP has already taken the necessary steps to address these ESG concerns, as evident by its implementation of a continuous improvement plan to address all indicators of forced labour, while Impact's independent assessment report should be out soon. Chai maintained her SDP earnings forecasts at 2.3 billion ringgit for FY22 and 1.66 billion ringgit for FY23, pending the release of its results for the first quarter ended March 30th, 2022. The analyst also maintained her buy rating on SDP with an unchanged target price of 5 ringgit 95 apiece. SDP closed 1.58% higher today at 5 ringgit 15 cents. The value of Malaysia's imports surpassed the 100 billion ringgit mark for the first time ever in March, as demand for intermediate goods surged in a positive sign for domestic economic activity. Intermediate goods are products such as wood and wheat that are used to make other goods, which are ultimately sold to consumers. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia or DOSM, last month's imports grew 29.9% from a year earlier to 104.9 billion billion ringgit. Also at record highs, the country's export value, which rose 25.4% to 131.6 billion ringgit, and total trade value up 27.3% to 236.6 billion ringgit. Trade surplus widened by 10.3% to 26.7 billion ringgit, marking the 23rd consecutive month of trade surplus since May 2020. DOSM Chief Statistician Datuk Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said, aside from intermediate goods, double-digit growth was also seen in the imports of consumption goods and capital goods. Overall, he said the growth in import value was mainly due to higher value of purchases from countries including China, Saudi Arabia, Taiwan, Indonesia and the US. Healthcare service provider CENGILD Medical debuted on the ACE market of Bursa Malaysia today, surging to a high of 51 sen, a 54.6% premium over its initial public offering IPO price of 33 sen. The counter opened up 16.5 sen at 49.5 sen this morning. At the close, it had some gains at 46.5 sen, still up 40.9%. The stock, which saw 162.8 million shares done, was one of the most actively traded stocks on the bourse today. At 46.5 sen, the counter was valued at 380.7 million ringgit. The group earlier said it aimed to raise up to 72 million ringgit from its listing with 218.8 million new shares. Of the proceeds, it intends to use 37.1 million ringgit to establish new medical centres, 17.4 million for working capital, 13 million for expansion of existing medical centres, and the remaining 4.7 million ringgit for listing expenses. The group also plans to extend its existing medical centre at Nexus at Bangsa South, Kuala Lumpur, and strengthen its medical team by attracting and recruiting consultants specialising in gastroenterology and hepatology.